Hi everybody, I'm Jim Shore. I want to welcome you to the studio this evening to spend a little bit of time with us. You know, it's always a treat when we can get together and give you a little bit of a heads up on the new things we've got coming down the pike, and do it in a way that we can have a little bit of fun with each other. This is my daughter, Robin.
Hi, everybody.
I think you may have seen her a time or two before.
Yes.
She is my right-hand man, so to speak. She keeps me, apprised of exactly what I have to do as far as my scheduling, my travel, and that sort of thing, because she is very, very organized, and I'm not. So, where I do my artistic thing, and that's about all I'm good for around here. The rest of it's taken care of by Robin, Dominique, Crystal, and the rest of the gang. So I want to introduce her and turn it over to her so she can explain a little bit more about what we're going to do this evening.
Okay, so tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to do an online signing, so those of you that can't make it to an event, a signing event, can maybe get a piece and be able to ask questions at the same time. These are the 7 designs that Jim will be signing, and you can see that on the website also. When you go to jimshore.com, they'll pop up. There are limited quantities, so order fast so you don't miss out, and it takes up to 4 weeks to get them. And our program will run from 7 p.m. tonight to midnight, June 25th. So you can order anytime in that window. Don't forget limited quantities.
Okay, the object, of what we're doing is to basically make a connection between us here at the studio and me as the creator of this line, and you as the collector or the enthusiast or the people that appreciate and support us. And Robin said we're doing this a little bit differently. In the past we've done the fireside chats, and I always enjoy that because that gives us an opportunity to sort of veer off into subjects and they're a little bit different than just simply talking about the product and that sort of thing. It's nice to make a connection where you know a little bit about us as a family, and how we are, personally. And this is going to be a little bit different than that, and it's a little bit different than the full streamings that we do from time to time. Those are a little bit glossier, a little bit more professional, and we always include our friend Valerie, and if you've been to them before. And but on this, this is a little bit more close to home, a little bit more intimate, and we're gonna do these things from time to time, so that we can let you know what's coming up, what we're doing, and how we're thinking. And of course, right now it's right before some of the holidays, the summertime holidays begin. So we'll, as the year progresses and the time goes on, we'll do these little chats like this, and discussing upcoming holidays and that sort of thing. Sort of lets you get a sneak peek of what the Shore family, the Shore household, and that sort of thing is. So, but for now, we've got, as Robin mentioned, we've got these 7 pieces that I'm going to be signing, and let me give you a kind of a rundown of what we got here. In addition to our core line, which is Heartwood Creek, which in itself is presented and created in a number of different, iterations, you might say. Some of it's very folk art towards the almost primitive look, which I absolutely love. It's got an innocence and a charm that is I think adorable. But we have the winter woodland, or the white woodland, the winter wonderland. We've got the Victorian, and some other variations on the theme. The challenge, of course, is to do these pieces in such a way that it's always recognizable as my artwork.
Yes, and it is.
And still, be cohesive as a group, so that the white woodland, for example, which is very neutral, goes well together with even the Victorian, which is a little glossier with the sugar and so forth. So and this piece right here kind of represents a little bit of the Heartwood Creek. This is one of my nutcrackers, and I do a wide collection of nutcrackers on a lot of different subjects. And
these are some of your favorites, right?
Yeah, that's right. And we do them, nutcrackers around the world, nutcrackers for all these different things. This is kind of a nautical theme, as you can see. So that's one of the pieces that's available this evening and during this signing.
Yeah, 7 to 9.
We've done, in addition to the Heartwood Creek, of course, we do all these co-brands. And we do Disney, we do Peanuts, we do Margaritaville, Coca-Cola, and a lot of others. Well, one of the lines that we are, pleased to partner up with, you might say, is DC Comics. That's almost a nostalgia thing with a lot of us older folks, and the younger people are, getting involved by watching Batman and Superman and these things that are a little bit more modern versions of what we're, familiar with in our day. And this piece here, this is Aquaman, and it's a favorite among a lot of the people who are enthusiastic and collectors of the DC comic characters. So we do put personality poses, and then we do scenes and so forth of these pieces. This happens to be the personality pose of Aquaman, and the object of all of these is to make it as specific and as true to the character themselves before I put my adornment on it, my way of decorating and so forth, using my sort of signature elements, the rose mauling inspired stuff, the quilt inspired stuff, and all that. This piece is from the Disney collection, and of course it's Dumbo, and Dumbo is with Mama Jumbo, right? Mrs. Jumbo.
Yeah.
There you go.
More Disney.
Okay, this is kind of a retro version of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse doing a little surfing. But as you can see, I'll point this out. The face of them, the eyes have this little sort of slice out of it that represents a highlight. Well, that's considered in the industry as the pie-eyed Mickey, because it's like a little slice of pie out of his eye.
I did not know that.
But that's artistically, so that's what it represents, is that little gleam, that little highlight in the eye. So it gives it some character, but it's a very retro look. One of my favorite eras, really. Then we've got Charlie Brown here, and he's flying a kite. Now this is a fairly dynamic piece because this is a multimedia piece, which allows a little bit of movement, that sort of thing. And with the use of the metal and so forth, it allows us to do it in proper proportions. So this is one of my favorite pieces because it's one of my favorite ways of presenting a piece. When you have these different materials and so forth that make the piece really look lifelike. Okay, Horton. This is from the Dr. Seuss collection, of course, and it's one of those charming stories that Dr. Seuss conjured up.
That movie is adorable.
He was such a unique and creative individual. It's when you see a Dr. Seuss piece, nobody has to tell you that's a Dr. Seuss piece. You know it immediately, and so we were real pleased to be able to, to do my version of his fantastic storytelling artwork.
Last one.
Okay, this is everybody will recognize this. This is Ariel and the Little Mermaid, and that's the Disney version from the movie, and some of the characters are there with her, as you can see. And this is, I think, a well-executed piece because it's got some complexity to it that really makes it interesting. Anyway, that's one of the pieces. That's one of also the Disney pieces.
Should we get to signing?
Let's do it.
Get some questions?
Okay, we've got
right.
several pieces. Let me start signing with this one.
Yes.
Okay.
The first question is from Rebecca from Kansas. She wants to know, how does the signing event work, and do you only sign specific pieces?
Okay, well, during a signing like this, where we have a certain, prescribed collection that we're signing, of course, we're going to limit it to these pieces, and the availability of them, as
Yes.
Robin pointed out. You might want to discuss
Yeah,
that again.
limited quantities, but for this event, there's just gonna be these 7 pieces. So get them while you can, but
They're available this evening.
this evening from 7 to midnight.
Okay, from 7 till midnight.
Yes.
You peruse take a look at the website here.
Yeah, jimshore.com.
and see what you like. And if you're interested in having these pieces, which every one of them will be signed, that makes them a little bit special. I like to have things signed when my friends who are artists, fellow artists, do something a little special, and they'll sign it. That makes it that really puts the cherry on a cake.
Okay, there's another question from Julie, and she wants to know about your Well of a Tail piece. She says, will Pinocchio have donkey ears as he does in the movie scene?
I know.
You caught us.
Every once in a while, since I create any given time hundreds of pieces, sometimes the details kind of get lost, slip through the cracks, and I don't get it just right initially. Here's the concept drawing that turns into a working drawing, actually, for expressing color work, communicating, and so forth. We do this with every piece. This is the starting point for every piece that we create. And yes, as you can see, no donkey ears. Okay. However, when we got into production and started doing the actual piece itself, and there it is. That's the way he will be inside the Monstro's mouth there. He does, in fact, have the donkey ears, so it's all taken care of. Don't worry about it. So that's we're glad actually that you all look at these things in such detail, and call us on the carpet sometimes if we don't do it just right, because I want to get it just right.
Okay.
Okay.
Anna from Rock Hill, right here. Hello, Anna.
We're in the Rock Hill area, so
Yes.
so Anna's practically a neighbor.
Yes. What dates will you be on QVC for Christmas in July?
Okay, well, I'll be on QVC actually in just a few days. I'll be on the 30th, which happens to be my birthday, by the way.
Yes.
So usually I stay home on my birthday and I don't do anything, and except just have some fun with the family and celebrate the fact that I'm another year older.
But QVC wanted to throw you a giant party, so
Well,
there's a benefit.
that has yet to be seen, but I hope somebody there cares, But that'll be on the 30th, and then I'll be again I think on QVC 2.
Yes,
right?
yes.
QV2,
The first and second.
the first and the second for
July.
multiple shows.
Mhm,
So it'll be
mhm.
several shows during that time. That'll be listed time-wise on our site and also on QVC's site. Now,
Yes.
as far as Christmas in July, that will be, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the 13th and 14th.
Yes.
It's either the 13th.
12th and 13th.
Okay, 12th and 13th.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've set an absolute time yet. Usually,
I think they have, but
or oftentimes, that when they're putting together their scheduling, they shuffle things around, or they'll include what we call a hit, which might be a little segment thrown in from 6 minutes to 10, 12 minutes, whatever, depending on the pieces. And we've got some special pieces. I'll give you a heads
Yes.
up on that. We've got some very special, exclusive pieces that we've done for QVC for this
that'd be very nice.
event, and I think you'll be very happy and excited. And they're big, so
Yes.
that's something you can look forward to looking for. All right.
Okay, the next question, it's going to be one of your favorites. Wanda wants to know, is there any more new button and squeaky designs coming?
Oh, I'm so happy. Was this Wanda that?
This was Wanda.
Well, thank you very much, Wanda, because that is a subject that we are all very, very excited about. We have some examples
Yes.
of some of the new castings, if you'd like to see them. Okay, this is very appropriate since the 4th of July is right around the corner. And this one is too, since my birthday is right around the corner.
Almost happy birthday.
But and this one here this is a cute one. This is Squeaky's family tree.
Yes.
And you know, Squeaky is Button's sidekick. He's a balloon dog, and they go everywhere together.
How cute is that on the unicorn?
Yeah, no, this is Acorn, the hobby corn, hobby unicorn. Okay, and actually, we're in the process of writing a number of children's books that goes along with this subject. And the first one is in publishing right now, and the second, third, and fourth actually are written and being developed as far as all the artwork and the color work and all that kind of stuff. And it takes a little bit of time, but there'll be a whole set of them. Initially, I want to produce 12 stories, and they're sort of children's book oriented, but they have some excitement and some magic and different things. So I think older folks and even adults will enjoy that too. And the main character is, of course, Button, and Button is inspired really by the fact that early on, my wife Jan, this is when the kids were real little, and Jan and I were going through our starving artist thing, which all artists have to go through, to build a
Well, we had
street
stuffed
rep.
animals, so that we were.
Yeah, they had plenty of stuffed animals, because that's what we made.
Yes.
We made stuffed animals out of old chenille and old quilt scraps and that kind of thing, and made them into stuffed animals. And a lot of the animals we made were a teddy bear, not unlike Button himself. Mm-hmm. And we would take them to the craft shows and the trade shows and sell them, and that's how we kept food on the table until things really started rolling. And so that was the subject has a special place, to me, because I think back on how important that was, to us when we were just holding everything together, making sure that the kids were well taken care of and that sort of thing. So it was a struggle at the time, and this little character right here, he played a part in helping us get through that. So anyway, this is, and as you can see, the size of the pieces is, I think, just the right proportion, and it's some multimedia pieces like so. So it's I'm very happy with it, and I think as the stories progress and as the sculpts progress, I think that it'll become a real strong, dare I say, collectible. I think it will. I think it's got the potential for that. And so anyway, keep your eyes open for that, because the books will be out soon, and they'll be in sequence, and we'll see where it goes from there. But right now we're for one thing, we're having a real good time with it. I mean, it's a real blast to take something and create it from scratch. It's not like doing a co-brand where the characters already exist. These guys are completely from our own imagination right here at the studio. And we brainstorm over it, and we talk about the subjects and the stories and the adventures and the different things, and it's a lot of fun to have something, sort of organically grow like that as a story and as a character. So anyway.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Diane wants to know, will you be doing any more Nightmare Before Christmas? And I just happen to have
Okay, you just happen to have some, right?
Yes.
Okay, once again, these are production drawings, or working, I don't know what you call them, working drawings that I do initially, primarily, it sort of become just part of the routine. Initially, it was so that I could communicate with anybody, anywhere that needed to know something, whether it be the licenses the license company up in Chicago, or the people out in Burbank, or whoever needed to know something. I could send them, or text them, or email them.
We used to have to mail.
Yeah, you used to actually put them in an envelope.
I remember mailing them.
Yeah, put them in an envelope and
Yes.
and physically mail them away. But now we're doing it, a little bit more, modern way,
Thank goodness.
since it is the 21st century.
Happens a little faster.
And so, when we're discussing it, we can say, okay, this detail or that detail, and we can both be looking at the same thing. But all of this is what initially comes out of my very cluttered mind. And so this is a piece that actually has been developed and will be online pretty doggone soon. I think that's is that for the January release? Or?
Yes, January 20,
Okay,
2020.
that'll be at the January show, so it'll be available this coming year, And this is another piece. This is lock, stock, and barrel, and they're in the bathtub, and they have kidnapped Santa, and that's part of the story, which I'm sure you know. But that's the rendition of that. And then this is my favorite character, Oogie Boogie. I mean, I love this guy.
Can't help but smile at that.
So anyway, this is kind of a personality pose of him, and it's complete with the worms and everything else. So yes, indeed, we are doing it. And so the pieces that you see here, and these are the 7 pieces that are available, as I said, will all be signed. And let's see, have I signed this one yet? No, I haven't. Let me sign it. I want to tell you about signing these things. I take great care signing the pieces that I sign, and I've signed thousands of them in the course of the years that I've been doing this, because some of the signings go on for hours and hours. We have hundreds and hundreds of people. I try to spend a little bit of time with everybody so that we can make a connection, and it can be a memorable and happy experience, and part of their their experience or the joy that they experience collecting this type of artwork, so they can take that that memory home with them and share it with their people. Now, as far as the signature is concerned, I am very careful about the signature and make sure that each one of them is a legible signature done in my way. And I do this the first time, the last time, and every time in between. Why? Because this piece right here is going to go to somebody. They don't care that I've just signed 100 pieces or I've signed the next 100 pieces. They only care about this piece. I sign this piece as if it's the only piece there is. And so whoever gets it knows that I thought about them when I signed this, and I did my very best on every single one of them. We do the same. We have the same kind of mentality overall, with the things that we do. I do my level best as far as my artistic expression here, and the way I see these things and the way I envision stuff. And I want every piece to be not just a little dust collector or a little something that you set on the shelf. I want it to be a piece of artwork.
Yep,
That's what I pour myself into every one of them. And when we duplicate these pieces, what you're getting is not the original, but it might as well be thought of as an original, because every one of these pieces is handmade from the time we make the first mold, to we cast the white body with our blend of materials that we actually cast this with, and the etching that we do, the fettling, which is the cleaning process. It's all done by hand. The paint schemes that we use, and the paint technique that's used is just like I would, just like the originals that I paint. It's done in sort of a toll painted style, which painters out there will be familiar with that term. It's kind of a folk art style where you use glazing, you use shadowing, shading, what they call scumbling, which it's the opposite of glazing, and dry brushing and that sort of thing, so that there's a lot of character and there's a lot of personality expressed simply in the paint, and it's done by hand with high density lacquer by our artists with brush. We don't use airbrush or any of this sort of things. And so each one of these pieces is a handmade work of art. We follow the quality control and all the rest of that stuff that's necessary to make sure that each and every piece is consistent and high quality. And it's for the same reason that I just told you about this signature. You get this piece is going to go to one person, and that is, as far as they're concerned, it's the only piece that counts. When I'm working on this piece, it's the only piece that counts to me too. So you can rest assured that when you get a piece, it's got my fingerprints all over it.
Well, we have a room filled with all these pieces that you need to sign.
I know that, and
You
I
might
will.
want to get started soon.
I will joyfully, as you can imagine, it's a lot of fun stand
Yes.
there and sign hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
We have
of
lots of good conversations
We
while
do.
you sign.
We do. We make a party out of it. So it's with joy that we do that. And one of the things about it is we never forget who we're doing it for. We appreciate everything that you all do for us, as far as supporting us and appreciating my artwork and the work that we do here at the studio. So and that's kind of the object of what we're doing right now, is expressing our appreciation and taking a little bit of time to get with you and make this personal connection from my heart to yours. So thank you very much for being with us. We'll do this again soon. And in the meantime, stay safe and just know that we love you all. Bye-bye.
Happy shopping!